Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Great to have you here today. Looking forward to our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Starting off with a quote. This quote really hit me. Literally, it was a Thursday last week, and so I knew I had to involve this in our Mindset and Motivation Monday for the following week. But it was a non-trivial day. It was a stressful day. There was a lot going on at work and just overall, a lot going on in life. And I read this quote and it just hit me and I'm saying, was this individual speaking directly to me? Sometimes, you're scrolling through Instagram or you're looking at whatever it is online and you just see that quote and it hits you. This one stuck with me. I want to share it with you now. See if it maybe sticks with you as well. By Winston Churchill. Again, whether you like Winston Churchill or not, that's kind of irrelevant. Let's look at this particular quote. The quote is this: sometimes doing your best is not good enough. Sometimes you must do what is required. I disliked the quote and I loved that quote all at the same time. And here's why. That day I felt like I was doing my best. But I certainly felt like my best was not good enough. I was not able to keep up with everything happening that day. I literally just got back from travel on the West Coast. And so that is just exhausting. I literally traveled 14 hours to get to California. I had layovers. I had all sorts of different things. I landed in San Fran. I had to drive an hour south. After that, just have a quick dinner, go to bed, try to stay on East Coast time, wake up, do a couple interviews that next day, have some food that night. I always like to walk to kind of degrade those epinephrine and dopamine levels. And then I watch sunset, go right to bed. And then the next morning, I'm up at 3:30 a.m. to get on a flight back to the East Coast. So there's not a lot of sleep. There's all that travel, which is not great with all the different radiation. But really a big thing is now I've got to make up all that work the next day. So I've got more meetings. I've got more recordings that I usually do. I had, private clients asking me questions, which on a typical day, I love doing all of these things. That's the truth. Like I love every single one of them. I have an amazing team. Enjoy meeting with them. I love doing my recordings and my research and my teaching in IHP. And of course, my private clients are amazing. But it was like all at once, And I was like, I'm doing my best to keep up. But truly, my best was not good enough that day. And so how I looked at it was, listen, you say that you're doing your best, but whether it's your best or not, here's what you need to get accomplished this day. So you just need to take a deep breath, work your schedule as it's laid out. Everything is laid out on your schedule with enough time for you to be able to accomplish it. Whether you think you have enough time or not, what you can't do is worry about it, overthink it. You need to just get down to business and work the process because you also don't want to take away from your time later in the afternoon, which is your workout, and your family's time. Because if you don't, and it's happened before, then you need to work late into the night. And that's not agreeable or enjoyable as well. So here's a couple ways to look at this. And this is what I did, is that sometimes your best isn't good enough. However, there's two ways to process this. One is that you may have more in you than you think. Okay, you're doing your best, but you can't keep up. You're doing your best, but you're still not able to. What does that mean? Well, it means that maybe it's time to grow. That you still might have that potential right now. You've just never had to dig that deep before. I actually felt that way from this really January 1st on. And it's because I hadn't taught a new Integrative Health Practitioner Institute certification in, I want to say, about 3 years since High Performance Health came out. Maybe it's about 2.5 years. And my schedule is already packed. But in order to create a new module, and there's 8 modules, in order to create a new module teaching all of these advanced labs like neurotransmitter test and the sleep and stress test and the environmental toxicity test, like all these amazing labs, the fertility test, I need an extra, what amounts to about 80 to 100 hours. That's a lot of time. I don't have that much extra time in my schedule, right? So like, what do I need to do? Okay, well, I need to rely on my team for a 6-month period of time where I'm building out all these different modules, maybe 7 months, probably more likely 7 months. And then what do I need to do is I need to get better. I need to get better and more streamlined at my research and my overall reading, get more streamlined on my writing, and then obviously my recording. But you can only streamline so much. right? And so the trick though then is that there's no wasted minutes. Now, that seems like a lot, and I want to then talk about that towards the end because you don't want to burn out, right? And I know that because I burned out before, so I'm very conscious of that. So we'll talk about managing energy at the very end. But there's a second way to do this, is that sometimes you're just not ready. Meaning like you set a big goal for yourself and you're like, I need to do this, 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 and this. And I'm just also gung-ho, and you started and you're just like, you know what? I can't do it. Sometimes it is just not the right time. Now, I am not one to say that you need to give up on your dreams. I think it's a terrible idea because then you live a life of regret. Oh, if only I tried, if only I, gave it a shot, if only I was able to push myself just a little bit more. But sometimes you're not giving up on your dream. You're going to delay the timeline 7 days, 30 days, 12 weeks at the very most. And that is to get better prepared. And that's only if you're willing to get better prepared. Because if you're not willing to get better prepared and you're willing to push off your goal, then you probably don't have a strong enough why. It actually might not be a strong enough goal for you. It's more of a wish than a true desire. So if you're like, I really want to become, a certified health coach. Okay. Do you really want to? Would you regret it? Or is it just kind of a wish? If it happens, it happens. Because that's different. So that's, again, I want you to really think about that. You want to lose 50 pounds. Okay. How bad do you want it? Right? So you kind of have to always think about all of these different things. Because if you really want it and you tried and you just didn't make it, but you also just weren't in the right headspace, no more than 4 weeks to 12 weeks to reset, recalibrate, begin a new 12-week year, but don't stop. In the meantime, what are you doing? Well, you weren't ready the first time. So what do you need to do in order to get ready? Honestly, it's usually just a better plan. That's all. A better plan, and then finding the 30-minute block in your schedule that you can work on that one thing every day. Because you really don't need more than 30 minutes, honestly. Unless you're going back to school, I get it, but like, to become a certified health coach, 30 minutes a day. To lose the weight you want, about 30 minutes a day. Like that has to be your exercise, and then everybody eats. So it's just choosing better food choices. Then of course, you run at home functional medicine lab tests to figure out what's going on with your blood sugar, your thyroid, your cortisol. I'm not saying that there's not more to it, but it's not going to take more than really 30 minutes per day. If you can get 2 30-minute blocks, great. If you can get 1 hour a day, great. But like, you're going to get 30 minutes a day and you're going to be able to accomplish your goals. I really believe that. I believe that that's true for almost everything. And then over time, you'll want to carve out another 30 minutes, right? Maybe 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes before bed. 30 minutes before bed might be meal prep. 30 minutes in the morning is your workout. And then you're going to just take more steps. You can do all the different things during the day. So again, you can make it happen. You know that you can. So oftentimes I really believe it's just the plan, it's the system, and then it's the schedule. Get it in your schedule. I've got lots of Mindset and Motivation Mondays that walk you through all of those steps. So if you want, just go to stephencabral.com/podcast, click on the Mindset and Motivation Mondays. It will walk you through all of those different shows, unlimited amount of shows for you to check out there. Okay. So that is that. Now, also though, you might need a coach. You might need an accountability partner. I'll tell you right now, I find I work best with an accountability partner. 1, a group that I'm a part of. 2, team. I've got team members. They're literally accountability partners. They're like, hey, here's the deadline. Here's when I'm going to get it done. The IHP community. I told them, hey, IHP 3, new module every month. Guess what? Am I going to let down hundreds of people in IHP 3? Of course not. I'm going to get the work done. They're my accountability now. I put it out there. People have signed up. Got to do the work. And I love that, right? So part of it is just kind of know yourself. 1, I need deadlines. 2, I'm not going to start though until I didn't launch. IHP 3 has been asked for years. I didn't do it till I could dedicate the time. And then I refined my system in order to be able to do it in a more precise way than I've ever been able to do before. And I think for the feedback that I've gotten is that it's the cleanest version, meaning people are able to assimilate the information in the best way possible. And of course, we still do all the live workshops. So it's something to think about, right? But sometimes, again, you step back. I had to step back and say, yeah, it's not the right time. Here's the right time. We couldn't launch it last fall because we do our live event every year. And then we were doing this and we're working on the lab portal and all these great things, right? So you can only do so many things at once. And that's why I do say, like, again, you kind of have to know if you're in that right season or not, but you can't just push it off forever. You do need to make it happen if it's something that has meaning to you. Now, the last part is this, is that we do have to be careful. That includes me too, is that every day can't be 120% day. Now, what's 120% day? 120% day was like my last Thursday, okay? Traveling, kind of wiped out from being in airports all day long on 2 of the 3 days before that, right? Just, brutal flying back coast to coast. Can't really fly any further away, right? Like that's it. East Coast to West Coast. But, I had to give 120% on that Thursday. It's more than I do by at least 20%. Like I had to give more than I typically do. And it was tiring. And then I worked one more day on Friday, still got good sleep because I never sacrificed the sleep. And then what happened? I had the weekend to recover. It was it was great. So everything is good, but I had to give that 120%. Here's the problem. I've been in positions where I've had to give 120%. That means more than I know how to do multiple days and weeks in a row. Try starting, an in-person practice. That is everything you have, right? And so you can easily burn out. Now, the nice thing is that most days aren't 120%. Because you will burn out. You can't even operate at 100% every single day, or you will burn out. Now, here's the sweet spot, 80 to 90%. Still a lot, right? Because what's below 80%, it's not a great effort, right? What are you doing? Well, hopefully you're doing things that don't really matter that much if you're putting in 70% effort. But on a typical day, once you're used to your routine, it can be 80 to 90%. You don't need to max out all of your workouts. It's detrimental to your health. Right? You don't need to over diet every single day. Detrimental to your nervous system and your health, right? So again, keep that in mind. Most days are 80 to 90%. So you're pushing hard, but you're not at your max. Then you need a day that's your max. Sure, it happens. You need to work hard, and that's great. But also, not everybody gets this luxury, and I didn't have it for many years. For at least a decade, I worked weekends, right? But now, think about it. Even if I'm working 80 to 100% Monday through Friday, and they're definitely, 80 to 100% days, no doubt about it. Some days are absolutely 100%. On the weekends, I'm 30 to 40%, right? So I have 2 full, true recovery days, unless I'm traveling for work or something, which is rare because I try to be there, not obviously, but always for my family on the weekends. So Friday night through Sunday night, it's family time. I mean, it really is. And so for me, when we're talking about the weekends, yeah, I do a nice long run on Saturday mornings, and that's very enjoyable. I mean, that's a a max effort maybe for the body, but not necessarily for the mind. I think it's good for the mind, and also I just have relaxing days. Like there's no stress with my 2 daughters and my wife and my dog. We just took up pickleball. We're playing some pickleball in the driveway that we've got a mini shortened court. We might be outside going for a bike, a swim. I might, take them out. We might play some board games. It's relaxed. And so those recovery days though, allow me then on Monday to say, Mondays are 100% effort. They are, right? Because Mondays we're back in it. I've got meetings all day. I've got recordings, all the things. So Monday's 100% effort. But now I've rested over the weekend and I'm able to then give my best during the week. So what I'm saying is some days are going to require more than your best, right? Going back to that quote, sometimes doing your best is not good enough. Sometimes you must do what is required. On days where more is required than you've ever done before, sometimes you just have to put your head down and do the work. But here's the other nice thing about that is that you recalibrate then and realize you do have more in you. You have far greater potential. You can do more. So now your 100% bar has been moved up. Do you need to hit that every day? No, but you know that you have an extra gear. And it's great having that confidence in the background. And at the same time, as I say, it's like swinging with a weighted bat. Once you take the weight off the bat, that bat feels light. So going from a 120% day to an 80% day, it's pretty fantastic. And when you start to do that, you can see why some people are able to do more with seemingly less effort. I have no doubt that over time, you'll be able to implement this into your own routine and see greater results at a much faster rate than you ever have before. Hopefully today's show was helpful. For all of today's show notes, head on over to stephencabral.com/3335. And of course, do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.